The massive doors of the Federation Council Hall slid open with a sound that echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Jiho Kim stepped inside, his polished black shoes clicking against the crystal floor. Behind him walked Captain Hyeri Park, her uniform crisp and perfect. Both humans kept their faces calm, but their hearts beat fast. The council hall was enormous. It floated in space, orbiting a small moon called Terminus Prime. Through the transparent dome above, stars sparkled like diamonds on black velvet. Around the circular chamber sat hundreds of alien beings. Some had scales, others had fur. Some breathed different air and sat in special pods. All of them turned to watch the two humans enter. Jiho had been Earth's ambassador for 3 years, but he had never been summoned like this before. The message had arrived 2 days ago, marked as urgent. It simply said that the High Council required Earth's presence immediately. No explanation. No details. Just the command to come. Hyeri leaned close to Jiho and whispered, "There must be 1,000 species here. I've never seen the chamber this full." "They're here to watch us," Jiho whispered back. "Something big is happening." At the center of the chamber stood a raised platform where the High Council members sat. Leading them was High Chancellor Morgath, a towering being with purple skin and 4 arms. His species, the Valorians, had been part of the Federation for over 10,000 years. They were one of the oldest and most powerful races in known space. "Ambassador Kim of Earth," Morgath's voice boomed across the hall. "Captain Park, welcome. Please approach the speaking circle." Jiho and Hyeri walked to the center of the chamber where a glowing circle marked the floor. Every eye in the room followed them. The whispers started immediately. Jiho could hear fragments of alien languages. Though his translator device caught some of the words, humans, the battle at Kepler Station, their weapons. How did they? High Chancellor Morgath raised one of his 4 hands and silence fell instantly. "Members of the Federation," he began, his voice formal and strong. "We gather today to address a matter of great importance. 3 weeks ago, the Scourge attacked Kepler Station, threatening 3 of our colony worlds. 2,000 ships came through the dark space, intent on destruction." Jiho remembered that day clearly. Earth had received the distress call and immediately sent their fleet. It wasn't even a question. People needed help. "Our own fleets were too far away," Morgath continued. "We estimated that it would take 6 days to reach Kepler Station. By then, 3 billion souls would have perished. But something unexpected happened." The High Chancellor touched a control panel, and a holographic display appeared above the chamber. It showed the battle at Kepler Station. Jiho watched the recording even though he had seen it many times already. The Scourge ships appeared first, dark and insect-like, swarming toward the station. Then came the human fleet. Only 37 ships compared to the Scourge's 2,000. It should have been a massacre. But the human ships moved differently than anything the Federation had ever seen. Their shields shimmered with colors that shouldn't exist, adapting and changing with each impact. When Scourge weapons hit them, the shields learned and grew stronger. The human weapons fired bursts of energy that phased through the enemy's armor as if it wasn't even there. And the speed. Human ships moved at FTL velocities that Federation scientists had declared impossible. They appeared and disappeared across the battlefield like ghosts, striking from every angle at once. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, 1,700 Scourge ships were destroyed. The rest fled. Not a single human ship was lost. Kepler Station was saved. The hologram faded. The chamber remained silent. 3 billion lives saved, Morgath said slowly, by humanity's incredible technology, by weapons and shields and engines that surpass anything we have ever witnessed in our 10,000 years of recorded history. Jiho felt the weight of every stare in the room. This was it. This was why they were summoned. "The Federation is grateful," Morgath continued. "Deeply grateful. Your courage and your power have shown us something remarkable. Humanity is barely 2 centuries old in space travel, yet you have achieved what species 10 times your age have not." Other council members nodded. A few made sounds of agreement in their own languages. "Which brings us to the purpose of this gathering," Morgath said, his forearms spread wide in a gesture that seemed welcoming. "For 10,000 years, the Federation has operated on a simple principle. When one species develops something that can help all species, it is shared. Technology is given freely for the common good. This is how we have all advanced together. This is how we have survived." Jiho's stomach tightened. He knew what was coming next. Therefore, the High Chancellor declared, the Federation Council formally requests that humanity share the technology behind your shields, weapons, and faster-than-light drives. We ask that you provide the scientific data, the engineering specifications, and the manufacturing processes. This technology could protect all Federation worlds. It could save countless lives. The chamber erupted in sound. Aliens of every type began talking, clicking, buzzing their approval. It seemed like the entire room agreed. This was a good thing. This was fair. This was how the Federation worked. Captain Hieri looked at Jiho. Her hand moved slightly, a gesture only he would notice. She was asking if he was ready. Jiho took a deep breath. He thought about Earth. He thought about the meetings he'd had with the President and the Science Council before coming here. He thought about what they'd discovered about the Federation's history, about the other species who had given away their technology. High Chancellor Morgath smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp. Ambassador Kim, on behalf of 3 billion saved souls and the entire Federation, we await your response. The chamber fell silent again. Every being in the hall leaned forward slightly, waiting to hear Earth's agreement. Waiting to hear humanity say yes. Jiho straightened his shoulders. His voice came out clear and strong, carrying to every corner of the massive chamber. High Chancellor Morgath, members of the Council, representatives of the Federation, he said, we have heard your request. We have considered it carefully. He paused. Harry stood beside him, her face unreadable. Earth's answer is no. We respectfully decline. For 3 full seconds, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The words seemed to hang in the air like something solid. Then the chamber exploded with noise. Aliens stood up, shouting in hundreds of languages. The translator in Jiho's ear couldn't keep up with the flood of words. But he didn't need a translator to understand anger. High Chancellor Morgath's face darkened to a deep purple. His forearms tensed. Ambassador Kim, perhaps you do not understand what we are asking. This is not a trade negotiation. This is a request for the good of all species. No one refuses the Council. We understand perfectly, Jiho replied, keeping his voice steady. And our answer remains no. Captain Hieri's hand moved to rest on the weapon at her side. Not threatening, just ready. Around them, the fury of the Federation Council grew louder. Jiho met the High Chancellor's eyes and did not look away. Behind that stare was a simple truth that would change everything. Humanity had just done something no species had ever done before. The shouting in the council hall had not stopped for 20 minutes. Jiho stood in the speaking circle, watching chaos unfold around him. Aliens from hundreds of worlds were on their feet, waving appendages, making sounds of outrage. Some were so angry that their translator devices couldn't even process their words properly. Councillor Vexthar, a tall being covered in blue scales, pushed his way to the front of the council platform. His yellow eyes burned with fury as he pointed one clawed finger at Jiho. This is unprecedented. Vexthar's voice cut through the noise like a blade. In 10,000 years, no species has ever refused a council request. Not once. The humans are being selfish. They are hoarding power while the rest of us remain vulnerable. More shouts of agreement filled the chamber. Jiho noticed that Captain Hieri had moved slightly closer to him, her body tense. Her hand never left her weapon. High Chancellor Morgath raised all 4 arms, calling for silence. The room gradually quieted, though angry mutters continued like distant thunder. Ambassador Kim, Morgath said, his voice colder than before, you claim to be part of this federation. You claim to share our values. Yet you refuse to help us. Explain yourself. Jiho had prepared for this moment. He had studied for months, reading through Federation history, examining old records that most species had forgotten. What he had discovered had changed everything. High Chancellor, Council members, Jiho began, his voice steady. We refuse because we have studied your history. We have seen what happens to species who share their breakthrough technology with the Federation. What are you implying? Vexthar snapped. I am stating facts, Jiho replied. He gestured and a holographic display appeared beside him, showing data streams. In the last 500 years, 50 species have shared major technological advances with the Federation. Would anyone like to guess how many of those species still control their own governments? The chamber went quiet. Some aliens looked uncomfortable. 7, Jiho said. Only 7 still have real independence. The other 43 are now what you politely call integrated members, what we would call dependent states. Client states, they no longer make their own decisions. They no longer control their own resources. They exist at the pleasure of the older, more established Federation species. That is a gross distortion, Morgath said, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. Is it? A new voice joined the conversation. Counselor De Hong stepped forward from behind Jiho. He was Earth's military technology advisor, and he had been waiting in the background. Let me give you specific examples. De activated his own holographic display. Images of various alien species appeared in the air. The Talaxians developed advanced mining technology 300 years ago, De said. They shared it with the Federation as requested. Within 50 years, their mining operations were owned by Valorian corporations. The Talaxians now work as laborers in their own mines. He switched to another image. The Renari created a new form of power generation 200 years ago. Clean, efficient, revolutionary. They gave the specifications to the Federation. Now Renari worlds buy their own power technology back from Federation suppliers at marked up prices. They went from innovators to customers. More images flashed by. Each one told the same story. A species created something amazing. They shared it. They lost control of it. They became dependent on the very organization they had tried to help. The pattern is clear, De said. Younger species provide innovation. Older species take that innovation, manufacture it, and sell it back. The younger species become economically dependent. Economic dependence leads to political control. Political control leads to loss of sovereignty. These are lies, Vexthar shouted, but many in the chamber were now silent, thinking. A small, quiet voice spoke up from the side of the room. It belonged to Ambassador Linsha of the Polarian Union. She was a graceful being with silver skin and large dark eyes. They are not lies, Linsha said softly. My people know this truth well. Every head turned toward her. Linsha's species had been part of the Federation for over 800 years. They were respected, considered successful, but now Linsha looked sad. 500 years ago, my ancestors developed a medical technology that could cure almost any disease, she continued. It was a miracle. We gave it to the Federation because we believed in the common good. Within a century, we no longer owned a single medical facility on our own worlds. Federation corporations ran everything. They employed our doctors, but they made the decisions. They set the prices. She looked at Jiho, and there was something like admiration in her eyes. Now our people cannot afford the health care that our own ancestors invented. We work in clinics that were built with our knowledge but are owned by others. We are prosperous, yes, but we are not free. We have not made a significant decision about our own future in 200 years. The chamber was completely silent now. Linsha's words hung in the air like smoke. The humans are right to refuse, she said quietly. I wish my ancestors had been brave enough to do the same. High Chancellor Morgath's face had darkened to an almost black purple. This council meeting is over, he declared. The Federation will discuss this matter and decide on appropriate consequences for Earth's refusal. Ambassador Kim, you and your people will remain on the station until we reach a decision. It was not a request. It was a command. Jiho and his team were escorted back to Earth's embassy quarters on the station. The rooms were comfortable but felt like a cage. Yeri immediately ordered her security team to check for surveillance devices. They found 17 listening devices hidden throughout the rooms. They're not even pretending anymore, Yeri said, crushing one of the devices under her boot. Jiho sat at a desk, his head in his hands. We've started something we can't stop. Did we have a choice? Day asked. He was looking out the window at the stars. If we had said yes, in 100 years, Earth would be just another dependent world. Humanity would work for the Federation instead of ourselves. I know, Jiho said, but now we've made enemies of everyone. A soft chime indicated someone at the door. Hieri's security team took positions, weapons ready. One of them checked the camera feed and looked surprised. It's Ambassador Linsha, he said. Alone. Jiho gestured for them to let her in. The Polarian ambassador entered quietly, looking around at the armed humans with understanding rather than fear. I cannot stay long, Linsha said quickly. They are already watching me for speaking out. But you need to know what is coming. Tell us, Jiho said. The council is voting right now on sanctions against Earth, Linsha explained. They will cut off your trade routes. They will isolate your colonies. They will make life difficult for every human in Federation space. We expected that, Day said. There is more, Linsha continued, her voice dropping to a whisper. Councillor Vexthar is proposing something worse. He wants to declare your technology a security threat. If the council agrees, they can authorize military action to secure it by force. Yeri's hand went to her weapon. They would invade Earth? Not immediately, Linsha said. First, they will pressure you. Make you hurt. Make your people suffer until you agree to their terms. But if you continue to refuse, yes, they will take what they want by force. They have done it before to other species who stepped too far out of line. Jiho stood up, his mind racing. How long do we have? Days, maybe weeks, Linsha said. I came to warn you because what you did today was the bravest thing I have seen in my lifetime. You said no when everyone else has forgotten they have that choice. You reminded me that we were once a proud people who made our own decisions. She moved toward the door, then paused. There are others who feel as I do. Species who are tired of being controlled. If you can survive what is coming, you might find allies in unexpected places. Then she was gone. Slipping out as quietly as she had entered, Yeri looked at Jiho. We need to warn Earth. We need to prepare for war. No, Jiho said slowly, an idea forming in his mind. We need to do something they won't expect. We need to stop being defensive and start telling our story. He moved to the communications console. His fingers flew across the controls, setting up a broad-spectrum transmission. What are you doing? Day asked. Something radical, Jiho replied. I'm going to broadcast our position to every Federation world. Not through official channels that the Council controls, but directly to the people. Every species needs to hear why we refused. They need to know the truth about what their governments have been doing. They'll see that as an act of war, Yeri warned. Jiho smiled grimly. They already see us as enemies. We might as well make sure everyone knows why. He activated the transmission. All across Federation space on thousands of worlds, a message began to play. In it, Ambassador Jiho Kim explained in simple terms why humanity had said no. He showed the data about dependent species. He told the story of the Polarians and the Talaxians and all the others who had lost their freedom. His final words echoed across the galaxy. We will trade with you. We will fight beside you. We will be your friends and your allies. But we will not surrender our future. We will not become dependent. We choose to remain free, and we hope that choice inspires you to remember that you once had the same choice too. The message ended. In the embassy quarters, Director Sunwoo Choi sat in his office deep inside Earth's orbital intelligence headquarters, watching data streams scroll across multiple screens. His face remained calm, but inside worry gnawed at him like a hungry animal. The information coming in was bad and getting worse. It had been 12 days since Ambassador Jiho's broadcast. 12 days since humanity had told the entire Federation that they would not give up their technology. The response had been swift and brutal. Show me the colony reports again, Sunwoo said to his assistant. The main screen changed, displaying a map of human-controlled space. Red dots marked colonies that were experiencing problems. There were too many red dots. New Eden Colony is reporting supply shortages, his assistant read from the data. Medical supplies were supposed to arrive last week. The transport ships are delayed with no explanation. Frontier Station 7 says their food shipments are stuck in Federation customs. Also no explanation. Olympus Mining Colony reports that their equipment orders have been canceled. The manufacturers cite technical difficulties. Sunwoo closed his eyes briefly. Technical difficulties. Customs delays. It was all lies, and everyone knew it. The Federation was squeezing Earth's colonies, cutting off supply lines, making life difficult. They were sending a message. Give us what we want, or your people will suffer. Captain Hyeri Park appeared on his communication screen. She was back on her ship now, the diplomatic vessel Horizon, positioned near Earth's orbital defenses. Director, we need to talk about the trade routes, Hyeri said without greeting. Her face looked tired. 3 more merchant ships reported harassment today. Federation vessels are stopping our traders, conducting long inspections, delaying them for hours. Are they finding anything wrong? Sunwoo asked, though he already knew the answer. Nothing. The inspections are just an excuse to slow us down. Our merchants are afraid. Some are saying it's not worth the risk anymore. Sunwoo rubbed his temples. The Federation was good at this. They were not attacking directly. They were not declaring war. They were just making everything difficult, making every transaction painful. making every day a little harder than the last. There's more, Hieri continued. My intelligence officers intercepted some communications. The Federation is planning something bigger. They're talking about declaring human space a security zone. What does that mean? It means they would have the authority to send military ships into our territory anytime they want. For inspections, for security, whatever excuse they make up, Sunwoo swore quietly. It was another squeeze, another pressure point. The Federation was closing in like a fist, slowly tightening until Earth could not breathe. A new alert flashed on his screen. Sunwoo read it and felt his blood run cold. Get me Trade Minister Yuna Lee immediately, he ordered. Yuna's face appeared on screen moments later. She looked like she had not slept in days. Behind her, Sunwoo could see her office, covered in papers and data displays showing economic charts. None of the charts showed good news. You've seen the banking reports? Yuna asked. Just now, Sunwoo replied. Explain it to me. Yuna took a deep breath. The Federation Central Bank has stopped processing loans to human businesses. They say it's due to risk assessment concerns. Our credit rating has been downgraded 3 times this week. Human merchants can't get financing for new ships. Colonies can't get loans for infrastructure improvements. Can we use our own banks? We are, but most of our currency is still tied to Federation credits. They control the major exchanges. They're deliberately manipulating the rates to hurt us. Yuna's hands trembled slightly. Sunwoo, they're trying to strangle our economy. If this continues for another month, some colonies will be in real trouble. How many of our people are suffering? Millions are affected. Not starving, not yet, but feeling the pressure. Prices are rising. Jobs are being lost. People are scared. Sunwoo ended the call and sat in silence. This was the Federation's real weapon. Not ships or guns, but money and supplies. They could make people hurt without firing a single shot. His assistant approached with a tablet. Sir, we've detected increased cyber attacks on our networks. Someone is trying to break into our research facilities. Source: multiple Federation worlds. Professional hackers. They're looking for the technology specifications, trying to steal what we won't give them. Sunwoo was not surprised. Of course they would try to steal it. Why negotiate when you could just take? Increase security on all research networks, he ordered. And get me Commander Minho Kang. Commander Minho Kang was the head of Earth's military intelligence. His face appeared on screen and Sunwoo saw immediately that Minho had bad news too. They're positioning their ships, Minho said without preamble. Federation military vessels are conducting exercises near our space. 6 different fleet groups, all within striking distance of our major colonies. Are they planning to attack? Not yet. They're sending a message. They want us to see their power, to know that they could hit us if they wanted to. Minho pulled up a tactical map. The problem is they're also mapping our defenses. Every exercise puts their sensors closer to our space. They're gathering intelligence, learning our patterns. How long until they have what they need? For a full invasion? Another 3 weeks, maybe 4. They're being thorough. Sunwoo felt the walls closing in. Economic pressure, supply disruptions, cyber attacks, military positioning. The Federation was attacking from every angle except the one that would look like war. There's something else, Minho continued. We're picking up encrypted communications between various Federation species. Something big is being planned. We can't crack the encryption, but the message traffic suggests a major decision is coming soon. The ultimatum, Sunwoo said quietly. Probably. They'll give us a deadline. Share the technology or face the consequences. A new message arrived, marked urgent. It was from Ambassador Jiho, still stuck on the Federation station. Sunwoo opened it and read quickly. His eyes widened. Get everyone to the command center, he told his assistant. Now. 10 minutes later, Sunwoo stood in front of Earth's Security Council. The faces on the screens around him represented the most important people in human government. The president was there along with military commanders, intelligence directors, and key ambassadors. Read them Jiho's message, the president said. Sunwoo cleared his throat. Ambassador Jiho reports that he has been contacted secretly by 17 different Federation species. They all expressed support for our position. They all shared similar stories of losing their independence after giving technology to the Federation. That's good news, isn't it? Someone asked. It gets better, Sunwoo continued. These species want to meet with us in secret. They're proposing something radical. A separate alliance outside of Federation control. A coalition of species who are tired of being dependent. The room erupted in conversation. This was unexpected. This changed everything. It could be a trap, one of the military commanders warned. Jiho doesn't think so, Sunwoo replied. He's verified the communications through multiple channels. These species are genuinely unhappy with the Federation system. Our refusal has inspired them to speak up. The president leaned forward. How many species are we talking about? 17 confirmed. Jiho thinks there could be more who are too afraid to reach out yet. That's still a small number compared to the hundreds in the Federation, someone pointed out. True, Sunwoo agreed. But it's 17 more than we had 12 days ago. And if we can show that we're not alone, if we can build a coalition, the Federation might think twice about attacking us, or they might attack faster. Before we can organize, another voice countered. Trade Minister Yuna spoke up. We need to consider the economic angle. If we can establish trade agreements with these species outside of Federation control, we can bypass their sanctions. We can create our own economic network. But we need to act fast, Commander Minho added. The Federation knows something is happening. That's why they're increasing the pressure. They want to break us before we can build any alliances. The president was quiet for a long moment, thinking. Finally, she spoke. Set up the meeting with these species. Do it in secret, somewhere the Federation can't monitor. We'll hear what they have to say. She paused. But prepare for the worst. Increase our defenses. Stockpile supplies. If the Federation decides to attack, we need to be ready. There's one more thing, Sunwoo said. He pulled up a document on the main screen. Jiho included this with his message. It's a report on the Federation's history. Buried deep in their archives, he found records of other species who refused to cooperate. Species we've never heard of because they no longer exist. The room went silent. The Federation destroyed them? Someone whispered. Not directly, Sunwoo said. They isolated them, cut them off, made their lives impossible. Most eventually surrendered. Those who didn't were slowly forgotten. Their colonies failed. Their people scattered. Within a few generations, they were gone. They want to do the same to us, the president said softly. Yes, Sunwoo confirmed. And we have about 30 days to figure out how to stop them. Across human space, people felt the pressure mounting. Prices rose. Supplies ran short. Fear spread. But Earth's government kept Jiho's news secret. They did not want to give people false hope. Not yet. The meeting place was an old abandoned station floating in deep space, far from any traveled routes. It had been built centuries ago by a species that no longer existed, left to drift and decay. Now it served a new purpose. Ambassador Jiho Kim stood in what used to be the station's main hall. Engineers had restored minimal power and atmosphere for the meeting. The lights were dim and the air was cold, but it would work. It had to work. They're arriving, Captain Hyeri Park said, monitoring her scanner. 7 ships so far. All different species. They're being careful, approaching from different vectors. Jiho nodded. Of course they were being careful. What they were about to do could be seen as treason by the Federation. These species were risking everything by coming here. The first delegate to enter was Ambassador Linshaw of the Polarian Union. She had helped arrange this meeting, using her contacts and her position. Her silver skin seemed to glow in the dim light. Thank you for trusting us, Jiho said, greeting her. Thank you for giving us hope, Linshaw replied softly. It has been a long time since I felt that. More delegates arrived. They came in ones and twos, looking nervous but determined. Jiho recognized some species from the council hall. Others were new to him. Each one represented a world that had grown tired of Federation control. The last to arrive was Representative Kaldor from the Nexian Collective. He was a tall being with crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbow patterns. His species was known for being cautious and logical, never acting without careful thought. That he was here at all spoke volumes. We are 17 species, Kaldor announced once everyone had gathered. That is not many compared to the hundreds in the Federation. But it is a start. It is more than enough, Jiho said. Please, everyone sit. We have much to discuss. The delegates arranged themselves in a rough circle. Some sat on the old benches that remained in the station. Others preferred to stand. All of them watched Jiho closely. I want to start by being honest, Jiho began. Earth is in trouble. The Federation is squeezing us from every direction. They want our technology, and they will not stop until they get it or destroy us trying. We need allies. We need more than allies, Linshaw said. We need a new way, a different system. The Federation model is broken. It benefits the old species and enslaves the young ones. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the gathered delegates. A delegate from the Corvian Republic spoke up. His species had 4 eyes and spoke in a buzzing voice. My people developed efficient food synthesizers 80 years ago. We shared them with the Federation. Now we buy our food from Federation suppliers who manufacture our own invention. The profits go to Valorian corporations. Our own people cannot afford to eat the food we created. My people invented a new form of transportation, another delegate added. Now we pay tolls to use transit systems built with our own technology. Story after story poured out. Each species had the same experience. They had created something wonderful, shared it because they believed in the common good, and then watched as it was taken away from them piece by piece. The pattern is always the same, Kaldor said, his crystalline voice clear and cold. Innovate, share, lose control, become dependent. The Federation calls it cooperation. We call it theft. Jiho let them talk, let them share their pain and anger. It was important that they understood they were not alone. Finally, when the story slowed, he spoke again. We can break this pattern, he said, but not alone. Together we can create something new. What do you propose? A delegate asked. A coalition, Jiho said, separate from the Federation but not hostile to it. A group of species who trade fairly with each other, who share technology on equal terms, who remain independent. The Federation will never allow it, someone said. They cannot stop it if we are united, Jiho countered. The Federation's power comes from controlling trade and technology. But if we trade with each other, if we support each other, they lose that control. Linshaw stood up. I have been thinking about this since the humans refused the council. I believe we need more than just a trade agreement. We need a new philosophy. She gestured, and a holographic display appeared showing data she had prepared. Look at how the Federation handles technology sharing, she said. When a species shares an innovation, the Federation takes the complete specifications. They manufacture it themselves. They control the distribution. The original species becomes a customer for their own invention. What alternative do you suggest? Kaldor asked. Commander Minho Kang stepped forward. He had been quiet until now, but Jiho had brought him specifically for this moment. We propose teaching the principles instead of giving the products, Minho explained. Humans will not give you our shield technology. We will not give you our weapon specifications. But we will teach you the scientific theories behind them. We will share the mathematical foundations. We will help you develop your own solutions based on your own understanding. The delegates looked confused. This was not what they expected. I don't understand, one of them said. That sounds harder than just giving us the technology. It is harder, Minho agreed. It will take longer. It will require work and research from each species. But when you are done, the technology will truly be yours. You will understand it completely. You will be able to improve it, adapt it, and control it. Kaldor's crystalline body seemed to pulse with light as he thought. You would teach us how to fish instead of giving us fish. Exactly, Jiho said. The Federation gives you products. We offer knowledge. Products can be taken away or controlled. Knowledge is yours forever. Linsha's eyes were bright. This changes everything. If each species can develop their own technology based on shared knowledge, no one controls the supply. No one can cut us off. Our scientists would need to learn new ways of thinking, another delegate said slowly. But yes, this could work. It would take time, Kaldor warned. Years, maybe decades for some technologies. Time we will have if we protect each other, Jiho replied. Earth offers to share our scientific foundations with all of you. In return, we ask that you share your knowledge with us. Each species teaches what they know best. The Polarians are experts in medical science, Linsha said excitedly. We could teach those principles. The Nexians understand quantum mechanics better than anyone, Kaldor added. We could contribute that knowledge. One by one, the delegates began to see the vision. Not a hierarchy like the Federation, but a network. Not dependence, but cooperation. Not products, but understanding. There is a problem, a quiet voice said. It belonged to a delegate who had not spoken before. The Federation will not allow this. When they learn what we are planning, they will act. They are already acting, Minho said grimly. Our intelligence shows that Federation fleets are positioning near Earth. They plan to force us to comply soon. Then we must move quickly, Keldor said. We must formalize this alliance before the Federation can stop us. And we must be ready to defend it, another delegate added. Jiho took a deep breath. This was the moment. I need to know who is with us. This alliance will have consequences. The Federation will pressure all of you just as they are pressuring Earth. They will threaten. They will isolate. They may even attack. I need to know who is brave enough to stand with us. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The weight of the decision hung in the cold air of the abandoned station. Linshaw stood first. The Polarian Union stands with Earth. We have been silent too long. We have obeyed too long. No more. Keldor rose next. The Nexian Collective stands with Earth. Logic dictates that this is the correct path, whatever the risks. One by one, all 17 delegates stood. Each one declared their species' commitment. Each one knew they were changing the course of their civilization. Jiho felt emotion well up in his chest. These beings were putting everything on the line. Their positions, their safety, perhaps even their lives. Then we are agreed, he said. We form a new alliance. The Coalition of Free Worlds. Free Worlds, Linshaw repeated and smiled. I like that. They spent the next hours working out the details. Communication protocols, trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, scientific exchange programs. It was rough and incomplete, but it was a foundation. As the meeting ended and the delegates prepared to leave, Keldor approached Jiho privately. You know the Federation will see this as a declaration of war, the Nexian said. I know, Jiho replied. They will come at you first. They will try to destroy Earth as an example to the rest of us. I know that too. Can you hold them off? Jiho met the crystalline being's multiple eyes. We will do whatever it takes. If we fall, the Coalition falls with us. So we will not fall. Keldor made a sound that might have been approval. Humans are either the bravest species I have ever met or the most foolish. Perhaps both. Perhaps, Jiho agreed with a slight smile. The delegates departed one by one, slipping away into deep space toward their home worlds. Each carried with them the knowledge of what had been decided here. Each would return and try to convince their governments to officially join the coalition. When everyone was gone, Jiho stood alone with Hieri in the empty station. We did it, Hieri said quietly. We actually did it. We started it, Jiho corrected. Now comes the hard part, his communicator buzzed. It was Director Sunwoo from Earth. Jiho, we have a problem. Admiral Sora Bay stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Defiance, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. Around her, officers worked at their stations, their faces tense but focused. They all knew what was coming. The Federation fleet was 3 hours away. Status report, Sora said quietly. All Earth defense ships are in position, her tactical officer replied. 63 vessels total. Shields are charged. Weapons are ready. 63 ships. It sounded like a lot until you compared it to the Federation fleet heading their way. Intelligence reported 300 Federation vessels, maybe more. They were coming from multiple directions, coordinated and organized. They had been planning this for weeks. Send me the long-range scans again, Sora ordered. The main display changed, showing the approaching Federation fleet, but something was different. Something that made Sora's heart beat faster. Admiral, the sensor officer said, confusion in their voice. I'm detecting additional ships mixed in with the Federation fleet. Different signatures. They're not all Federation military. Sora leaned forward. Identify them. The computer processed the signatures. Names began appearing on the screen. Sora read them and felt something close to hope. Those are Polarian ships, she said, and Nexian vessels, and Corvian fighters. More names appeared, 17 different species. The Coalition. They came, Sora whispered. They actually came. Captain Hieri Park's voice crackled over the communication channel from her position near Earth's moon. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Ambassador Linshaw. She says the Coalition fleet is moving to join our defensive formation. Patch her through, Sora commanded. Linshaw's face appeared on the screen. The Polarian ambassador looked tired but determined. Behind her, Sora could see the bridge of a Polarian warship. Admiral Bay, Linshaw said. The coalition stands with Earth. We have 42 ships, not as many as we hoped, but our governments are cautious. These are the vessels whose captains volunteered to be here. 42, Sora repeated. That brought their total to over 100 ships. Still outnumbered, but not impossibly so. Ambassador, this act will be seen as treason by the Federation. We know, Linsha replied simply. We have made our choice. If Earth falls, the coalition falls with you. So we will stand together. The Federation fleet was 2 hours away now. Back on Earth, Ambassador Jiho Kim sat in an emergency session with the planet's government. The president's face filled the main screen, broadcasting from a secure bunker. The people are scared, the president said. They want to know if we're about to go to war. We already are at war, Councillor De Hong replied. The Federation has been attacking us economically for weeks. This is just the next phase. Can we win? The president asked directly. Everyone looked at Commander Minho Kang. He studied the tactical data for a long moment before answering. In a straight fight, no, Minho said honestly. They outnumber us almost 3-1 even with the coalition ships. Their vessels are powerful, their crews are experienced. We have better technology, but they have numbers. So we surrender? Someone asked. No, Jiho said firmly. We change the rules of the game. He stood up and activated a holographic display showing the entire Federation. Thousands of worlds lit up across the galaxy. The Federation's real weakness is not military, Jiho explained. It is political. Right now we are broadcasting everything that is happening to every Federation world. Every species is watching. They are seeing the Council send a massive fleet to attack a species who only wanted to remain free. Will that stop them? Maybe not the fleet, Jiho admitted. But it will change how they are seen. The Federation claims to be about cooperation and mutual benefit. We are forcing them to show their true nature. They are not liberators. They are conquerors who prefer economic weapons to military ones. Trade Minister Yuna Lee added her voice. Our broadcast has been running for 3 hours. We are already seeing effects. Protests have started on 40 Federation worlds. People are demanding answers. They are asking why the Council is attacking us. The Council will ignore protests, someone argued. Perhaps, Jiho said. But they cannot ignore what comes next. Ambassador Lin Sha is about to make her own broadcast. On her warship, Lin Sha sat before a camera, preparing to speak to the entire Federation. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was steady. My name is Ambassador Lin Sha of the Polarian Union, she began. For 500 years, my people have been loyal members of the Federation. We followed the rules. We shared our technology. We trusted in the common good. And because of that trust, we lost everything that made us free. She paused, letting her words sink in. Today I stand with Earth not because I hate the Federation, but because I remember what we used to be. I remember when we made our own decisions, when we controlled our own destiny. The humans reminded me of that. They showed me that saying no to unjust demands is not selfishness. It is dignity. Other coalition representatives joined her broadcast. One by one, they told their stories. Species after species explained how they had given away their innovations and lost their independence. The Federation tells you that humans are dangerous, Kaeldor of the Nexian said, his crystalline form gleaming. They say humanity is hoarding power, but I ask you this. Which is more dangerous? A species that wants to remain free or a council that will destroy anyone who does not obey? The broadcast reached every corner of Federation space. On hundreds of worlds, people watched and listened. They heard the truth in these voices. They saw the conviction in these beings. And they started to question. The Federation fleet was 1 hour away from Earth. On the bridge of the Federation flagship Eternal Authority, High Chancellor Morgath watched the broadcasts with growing fury. His forearms clenched into fists. They are poisoning the entire Federation against us, his second-in-command said. It does not matter, Morgath replied. Once we secure Earth's technology, this rebellion will collapse. The other species will fall back in line when they see what happens to those who defy us. But even as he said it, he knew the situation was not as simple as he wanted it to be. Reports were flooding in from across Federation space. The broadcasts were working. Public opinion was shifting. Some Federation members were openly questioning the Council's actions. "The fleet is ready," the weapons officer reported. "We can begin our attack on your command." Morgath stared at the tactical display. Earth's defenses were arranged in a careful formation, with the coalition ships integrated among them. It was, actually, a clever arrangement, mixing the different species together so that attacking Earth meant attacking all of them. He opened a communication channel to Admiral Sora Bay. "Admiral Bay of Earth," Morgath's voice boomed. "You are surrounded. You are outnumbered. You will surrender your technology immediately, or we will take it by force." Sora's image appeared on his screen. She looked small compared to Morgath's bulk, but there was steel in her eyes. "High Chancellor," Sora replied calmly. "Look at your own fleet. See the ships standing with us. Those are Federation species, your own members. If you attack Earth, you attack them too. You will be firing on your own people." "They are traitors," Morgath snarled. "They are free beings making their own choices," Sora corrected. "Something your council has made them forget they could do." She paused, then continued with quiet intensity. "We will defend ourselves, High Chancellor. We will defend our allies. Fire if you must. But know that you will fracture the Federation forever. Every shot you fire will prove everything we have said about you. The entire galaxy is watching. Choose carefully." Morgath cut the transmission. His hands trembled with rage and something else. Uncertainty. On hundreds of worlds, billions of beings waited to see what would happen next. The broadcasts had done their work. Public pressure was mounting. Some Federation governments were starting to distance themselves from the Council's actions. Morgath's second-in-command spoke quietly. "High Chancellor, we are receiving reports. 43 Federation worlds have formally protested our military action. 12 are threatening to leave the Federation if we attack." "Cowards," Morgath spat. "Sir, if we lose that many members, the Federation will collapse economically. We need their resources, their trade." Morgath stared at the tactical display. He could give the order. His fleet would probably win. They would take Earth's technology. But at what cost? The Federation would be torn apart. The unity they had maintained for 10,000 years would shatter, all because humanity had said one simple word. Note a new communication request came through. It was from the Federation Council back at Terminus Prime. Morgath accepted it with dread. The face of Councillor Vexithar appeared, but he looked different. Worried. Defeated. "High Chancellor, the Council has voted," Vexithar said quietly. "You are ordered to stand down. There will be no attack." "What?" Morgath could not believe what he was hearing. "The political situation has become impossible. The broadcasts have turned public opinion against us. Too many member worlds are threatening to leave. The Council has decided to negotiate instead." "Negotiate?" Morgath's voice was hollow. "They refuse to give us their technology, and we will negotiate?" "The old way is over," Vexthar said, and he sounded tired. "Perhaps it has been over for a long time, and we were too blind to see it." The communication ended. Morgath stood frozen.